My name is Marvin Christ. I'm the Vice Mayor of the City of Lancaster. And the way that I like to do this is if I say something, we do something, or I make some part of the presentation that you have a question on, if you have a question at that point, it's okay to stop me. So I'll do it till I see someone raise their hand. Afterwards, we're going to have a question and answer period, so if you have questions, but if I'm unclear in some way for you, if I'm not very clear on how it is or way it should be, question me on it. So that's the way that I would like to do it. Okay, the Palmdale Power Plant. So-called green pollution. See all those green windrows? Those are the solar plants. Keep those in mind for later on in the presentation because we're going to talk about that part. We're going to talk about the solar portion of it, but the footprint of the power plant is 50 acres. The entire program is 377 acres. 546 tons of pollution. 1,800,000 metric tons of CO2. So recently, you've probably heard the City of Palmdale answer to some of our claims. They've claimed that some of our 60th and Avenue L shopping center will put out as much pollution as this. What they're comparing it to is the top number. We don't focus a lot of people on this number to the right. Okay? It is a big number, but if they want to compare the 546 to their 1,000,008, we'll be glad to do that. But that's the difference. This is one of our main concerns, is the pollutants that's out there. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but everything that I'm going to talk about, it has to do, in our opinion, with the lungs and the respiratory portion of everybody. We rank last in LA County. We rank last in the state of California as far as people with asthma, respiratory, and there's various reasons for it, but we do rank last. 115 tons of NOx. The effects, airways, increased respiratory symptoms, and it just aggravates your basic lung functions. VOCs, 40 tons a year, eyes, nose, throat, headaches, loss of coordination, nausea. Yes, sir.
We know that we are going to create byproduct by burning fossil fuels, however clean they are. Okay, natural gas, for instance, is half the pollutants that a coal plant, for instance, would put out.
Correct.
In relationship to a natural gas plant, give me a frame of reference here. How much is this going to pollute in reference to it? And is this anything like the solar biomass project that got stalled?
No.
I'll
explain.
I think it was.
Comparing it to other gas-fired power plants, is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, I mean, are we talking about here, this is going to be a solar gas-fired combination?
No.
Okay.
No, it won't be. They've taken the solar component out of it.
How forward-thinking of them. But what is it going to burn? If it's not going to burn natural gas...
It will burn natural gas, but these are the byproducts of it. And
okay, so this is a clean power plant in comparison to, say, a coal plant.
This is a clean turd.
Exactly my point. Anytime we burn fossil fuels and we don't put up solar arrays, we're just asking for it.
Correct.
We're going to create pollutants.
We
already got enough
This
problems.
is not renewable energy. We want to be the renewable energy capital of the world.
I've heard this.
Okay.
I've heard this. I'm with you.
Thank you, sir. Good question. Okay. Eyes, nose, throat, headaches, loss of coordination. Sulfur dioxide, 9 tons. Respiratory. They're all respiratory again. Those are the problems. Increase emergency visits. Carbon monoxide, 255 tons. Effects, the fatigue, the chest pain, the effects. Impaired vision, headaches, dizziness, confusion, nausea, flu-like symptoms. That's all there. PM10. Now this is a big one, but what it does, it's basically dust particles. Okay, so PM10 understand there's 2 PMs and it's particulate matter, but it's 2.5 and PM10. But PM10 is the one we'll talk about. We are in a severe attainment in the Antelope Valley with PM10. Very, very bad. Okay? This is what we believe is creating a lot of our problems. And again, premature death, everything. Key indicators. As I said before, AV ranked dead last. 12.2% of all our kids have asthma. Dead last. If everyone read the Valley Press the other day, it showed it. It showed why and how. This is kind of going up to a kid that has allergies to peanuts and cracking them next to him. Okay? It's a problem. We don't want to exacerbate a problem. It's the city of Lancaster's belief that we've done enough to supply the grid. We've done enough for the state, for the community to supply it. This is what it's going to look like. It's really beautiful. That's going to be located on the corner of Avenue M and Sierra Highway. Okay, this is the 3-mile circle. They talk about a 6-mile circle, but it's located Sierra Highway and Avenue M. As I said, it's located in this red portion right here. This right here is the city of Lancaster border or the city of Palmdale's border. So when the city of Palmdale talks about how it's located in north central Palmdale, I don't know how they can get there, but that's how they get there. So preschools, it's all in there. The schools, it goes through all of them in that 3-mile circle. I won't bore you, but this goes on and on and on. But those are all the schools that it affects in the 3-mile circle. In the EIR, it talks about a 6-mile circle. Now, that's the 6-mile circle, or the 3-mile circle, but you can see on the outside, that's the true effect of it. When you talk about the schools, what it'll affect, 87% of the schools will be in Lancaster. 13% will be in Palmdale. Add in the prevailing winds, 100% city of Lancaster. School kids. Now, if you take into effect just that 3-mile circle, Lancaster will have 6,468 kids. 94% of it. 6% will be city of Palmdale. Factor in the prevailing winds, we have 100% of the pollution going into Lancaster. The workplaces, this encompasses Plant 42. 66% are in Lancaster, 34% are in Palmdale. Again, prevailing winds, 100% Lancaster. Residential, 3-mile circle, 82% Lancaster, 18% Palmdale. Factor in those prevailing winds, 100%. Economic effect. We have 25 tournaments a year. It brings in to both communities, meaning Lancaster and Palmdale, about $12 million. They already question us on the air quality. Those soccer teams that come up here already question us about the air quality that's here. So it's a concern to them. We do not want to lose this $12 million economic effect. Now, to be fair, the city of Palmdale is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say tit for tat. I'm trying to show you the entire picture of what's taken place. So the city of Palmdale, the economic effect of that power plant is approximately $5 million a year. But we'll talk about that a little later. The ERC credits. It's very difficult to explain. What it means is there's a power plant in the San Joaquin Valley. And I have to talk about what was done on the EIR because otherwise the city of Palmdale says that we're making stuff up. But I'll explain that in a little bit. A power plant in Fresno, San Joaquin, Merced, somewhere up in that area, which is the air district. They closed a facility that had the pollution enough to give the credits for this that we need. And the credits are those 546 tons of pollutant. You can only pollute the air so much. So before you can pollute that air, you have to buy credits. So in effect, what we're doing is we're going to send them $15 million so they can clean their air so we can dirty ours. That's the function. This is what the fight is about right now, the ERC credit transfers. We are saying we do not want to make our air dirtier. Now, these credits that they're talking about, I believe, Mark, they were created in 1977. Yes, sir.
What are we getting for paying them?
You're getting credits. You're getting credits. They closed the plant up. I agree. That's my point. They closed this plant 20-some, 30-some years ago. Okay, it's not going to make our air any cleaner here. The theory behind it is the wind blows from here down through the Tehachapi's and into the Antelope Valley. That's the theory. So we get some of the pollution from here, which is a reality. We do get some of their pollution. We also get it from South Coast, which is the LA Basin. That's the two main focuses of where we get our pollution. However, it doesn't make our air cleaner. They've already cleaned it. We're just paying them for it. We're transferring the risk. So when they're saying we're actually cleaning our air by doing it, it's a myth.
Where does the money come from?
The money comes from the developer or the investor that actually builds the power plant.
No, I mean the money to pay them.
That's where it comes from.
Give me that again.
The investor that will build the power plant, because the city of Palmdale is not going to build the power plant. They had told the community, we will build the power plant. They will not build it anymore. Summit Energy out of Seattle will actually build it. So they will get investors, and that's who will pay that amount. We vote on this December 17th. And this is what we're trying to point out to everybody, that it will affect you. Water usage. That facility is going to take 4,100 acre-feet of water. What that means is you take an acre, you fill it up 4,100 feet, 3/4 of a mile.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Are you talking reclaimed water?
Yes, ma'am. Tertiary water.
And this is part of the power plant agreement, was it not, to provide something like $20 million to invest in an infrastructure to get that reclaimed water and take it back to the plant? I'm just curious.
No.
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 There was to be no.
We do not have an agreement. I do not know what the city of Palmdale did, but we do not have an agreement. They're saying in their EIR that there's an agreement between the city of Palmdale and the city of Lancaster.
Does reclaimed water cost the same when you're talking water rights here as our potable water?
Absolutely. And let me explain why. Because you can transfer these, okay? I'll give you an example. We have a park. Okay, that park has 350 acre-feet of water that it takes a year to water it. We can take that tertiary water and water our parks now, and we can take that and sell the credits of 350 acre-feet of water. So when you can sell the credits, we can give that to different facilities, different industries, different people that bring numerous jobs here.
So you're saying it's money in the bank they're spending. You're not saying that it's new money.
Correct. Correct. It's money that, in our opinion,
Kern sold their credits,
excuse me?
just like Kern sold their air quality credits.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
So they're just, it's money in the bank.
It's money that they're spending that, or it's not money that they're spending, it's money, in our opinion, that they're wasting.
That could be sold for that price.
Correct.
Possibly.
Correct. No, it can be, because this is the current amount that the Antelope Valley East Kern Water District had said an acre-foot of water will sell for a 20-year period of time.
But we're obviously not selling that water now, so it's money in the bank. It's not money being thrown
Okay, here's the difference that it is. This water goes in, and when we percolate our tertiary water, the water percolates into the ground, goes back into the aquifer. Okay, it stays here.
Well, that could be a whole nother conversation.
It could be. That's why I said.
Property we bought up in Kern that does not work as advertised, but I haven't.
Correct. But that's the theory that's behind it. Okay? You put it on the ground, it percolates back, it stays here in the Antelope Valley. With the power plant, they put it up in steam, it blows away, it's gone for good.
We're talking about 1.3 gallons of water per year. 1.3 billion gallons of water per year with that.
Right.
That's just vaporizing.
Up in steam.
Correct.
Okay, there's a problem. We have a problem now with our water, and it's a cost, and it adds to the cost of everything. It'll add to your future cost of water. What we're trying to say is you can use this tertiary water, but water your parks with it, water everything like that. There's a better use for it. And that water is worth $41 million a year. And you're taking out of the aquifer 4,100 acre-feet of water. It's a huge amount of water. The plant site, it's up here, okay? Sarah Highway, Avenue M. This is the Vincent substation down here. The ultimate goal is to get that power there. Now, how are they going to do it? They're going to run a water line from 30th Street in Avenue P. They're going to go through Lockheed Way, down Sarah Highway, and over to that. Our question has been, look at all this acreage in here. You could have put that power plant right in here, no houses, there's nothing over here that would have affected anybody. We don't think it's a good idea. We wouldn't do it in our city, but we're saying if you're going to do it and you want to do it, why are you running a power line going north? Ultimate goal here. Okay, the water. They say they're going to hook up the clean water from our stuff to here. That's not going to happen, but that's what they say is going to happen. Okay, the gas line. It's a 27-inch high-pressure gas line that goes from Pear Blossom Highway, Avenue S, that area in there, down the same 10th Street, through the San Andreas Fault, over to them. It's not something the city of Lancaster would do, but that's their business. But again, they're running everything north. Look at all this land. Why are they running everything here? Now, here's the beauty. This is transmission lines. Guess where Palmdale's borders are? That's where they're going. Why didn't they run this here, straight down? Isn't it more economical? Isn't it better for everybody? And if it's not a problem, why did they put it over here? Why didn't they put it here? That's why I'm showing you that. I'm showing you if it's not a problem, why aren't they putting it here? It's far more economical to, if they put it here, they could run it to there. They would have a 5-mile jaunt. This is 36 miles of transmission lines. 36 miles. Now, this is something that nobody can answer me. They said they did this so they keep it out of everybody's way. Why did they make this jaunt up here? Why did they go a mile up from Avenue M over to here? Want to know why? That's where our borders jaunt. When you put a high-tension power line, it basically kills the property values for about a half a mile on both sides. When you run it straight down there, they lose a half a mile on this side, a half a mile on that side. When they move it up to here, they only kill a half a mile of their property values. They kill a half a mile of our property values from there. We get no economic benefit from this. We receive nothing from this. We get all its waste, all its pollution, and all its visual pollution. So you can see There has to be a reason why they don't go straight down. That's what it's going to look like. Here's the transmission lines. 36 miles through the Antelope Valley. That's the steam. Now, it's questionable how long, but the EIR says for 14 hours, that steam will go up into the atmosphere 6 miles. That's only a mile above where the jet airliners fly. So you can be in a jet airliner at 5 miles high and still look up a mile, and it'll be above you. Now, granted, that will only happen for 14 hours out of the year. Excuse me? 14 hours out of the year. Okay? It's saying the conditions have to be ripe. It has to be ripe for that to happen. And they're saying under the normal conditions of the Antelope Valley, it'll happen 14 hours out of the entire year. Everything else will be something from 6 miles high to 350 feet high on top of 150-foot stacks. So I don't know about the rest of you, but when I was a little boy, when we went down to Los Angeles, all I can remember is the Budweiser, okay? And looking at the Budweiser and the stacks going in that, and I'm thinking, oh, this is LA, this is dirty, I don't want to live down here. But that's what it's going to create. That's the atmosphere that it's going to create in our valley. That's why the realtors are not liking this. Can you imagine coming up here to buy a home, which affects everyone's property values, and they look at that and they say, I don't want to live here, if it's just 450 feet high?
How many hours a day will the plant be in operation?
There's a controversy with that, and they're saying the 546 tons of pollution will be it running just at night, because the dispersion of the pollution will happen differently at night than it will happen during the day. So it is proposed to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're saying that will never happen. Yes, ma'am?
Who is it that decided that we needed this plant? Why do we need it? We're not benefiting. Is it just Palmdale? And who in Palmdale decided that the plant was going to go there?
Okay, in 2006, you have to go back in time a little bit. In 2006, we were in a power crunch. We were buying power from the wrong people. Okay, and that power was being purchased at a higher price. There was brownouts. There was all kinds of problems. The city of Palmdale decided that, well, if we put this in, it'll solve the problems. But they didn't see the problems that it was going to create. And again, I'm trying not to be an adversary with the city of Palmdale, because it would have been a great economic boom for the city of Palmdale if what they were trying to accomplish would have worked. The permit process at that time, the permit was worth about $85 to $95 million. Now it's worth $27 million. So they would have profited and done the exact same thing, sell it, do it, all that kind of stuff. They would have profited $60 million. It'd have been one time. Mm-hmm. But we're going to get this for 50 years.
But we don't, if it's in Palmdale, or is people in Lancaster going to be able to vote?
No. Okay, however, you have representatives on the city of Lancaster that represent the board for the AVA QMD, and they will vote for you. We have 2 votes. I chair that board. The plant will be owned and operated by the city of Palmdale. Okay, you have to understand, this is what they told the community. They went to Rotary. They went to the Chamber of Commerce. They went to everybody and said to the Board of Trade, it's going to be owned and operated. They went to the city of Lancaster, owned and operated by the city of Palmdale. if they prosper, we prosper. That's the way we look at it. I'm not so sure that's the way they look at it, but we look at it, if they prosper, we prosper. This, to us, is the Antelope Valley. We have a border that what we're responsible for, but if they prosper on the other side, the south side of that border, we prosper. It's a big deal. The reality is, it was sold to Summit Power Group. Now, here's the facts. The city of Palmdale has spent $35 million on this power plant to date. They sold it to Summit Power Group for $500,000 with an option, if it goes through, that they could recoup up to $27 million. So they invested $35 million to sell it for 27. So I guess their function was only to lose $8 million. So when people say, why are you against this? You were for this before. Why? Because when they made the presentation, they told us all these things were taking place. We went back and we do our due diligence and say, whoa, wait a minute. This is not going to take place. They can't do this. Another thing that they told everybody, it will reduce everybody's power bill. We're going to lower your rates, everybody in the Antelope Valley. We're going to lower your rates by 20% because this power will belong to us, and we can do that. The reality is, there's no mechanism in place for this. It can't happen.
I'm assuming that the city of Palmdale has been invited to, or they're aware of these forums?
Yes.
I'm surprised that they're not here to say something. I just brought up their website, and it says the city of Palmdale proposes to construct, own, and operate the Palmdale hybrid power plant. So even despite all of this stuff that we're talking about, they haven't even updated the website. You know, if they've sold it to Summit, why don't they at least make the effort to update their own website, aside from not showing up here?
Get their phone number and call them. Electric bills, Plant 42 Aerospace, all the contractors out there. Okay, this is why we're going to put it here. Remember that little area that they're going to put it in? That 377 acres? They're going to put it there because they want to hook it up to all the contractors. Why do they want to hook it up to them? If they can get cheaper electricity, they can produce more jobs, they will be more competitive, and it'll be better for the Antelope Valley. City of Lancaster said, sounds like a pretty good plan. However, doing our due diligence, we went to the commander of Air Force Plant 42. We sat with him on a conference call to Wright-Patterson. And they said there is no way that will ever happen to Air Force Plant 42. There's no legal mechanism in place for that to happen. You cannot sell electricity directly to a contractor. It has to go to the grid and then back out. The plant is in north central Palmdale. We talked about that. We talked about where it was located. It's 60 feet from our border. It's clean. It'll produce 546 tons of pollution. Now, all that solar stuff, you go back up to the top, up in here on Summit, they have 377 acres available to them. Summit bought 50 acres, which is the footprint of just the power block itself. That's what they need for the power block, and they're doing away with the entire solar array. So when the EPA takes a look at this and they say to everybody, it's the cleanest plant that's out there. It's everything that's out there. It is the cleanest one. This is what they've taken into account. The solar portion of this made up 8.5% to 10% of the clean portion of it. That's no longer a function. So when you look at this and you look at it constantly, what they've told everybody, what they've told the community, what they're trying to sell everybody, and then when the reality happens, it's not truly there. Hybrid power plant be the cleanest type in the world. Serve as a model. We talked about that. 50 acres. Okay. Again, this is ultimate goal. That's where it's at. When I did the presentation to the Board of Realtors, their response was they need a new realtor because one of their things is they said they couldn't find enough land anywhere. They couldn't find enough land to put this block. That's why they had to put it there. Okay, I'm going to open it up for questions to anybody. You're talking about the soccer plant, the soccer facilities are right here.
Correct. The wind blows it directly that way, towards the soccer fields.
Yes?
You say that Lancaster is providing more than enough energy to provide to the grid.
No, I didn't. I said we've done our part. We've done our part as far as everybody has to produce for the grid.
Where can I find the amount of energy the Lancaster Power Authority is producing, the EIRs for the solar, and the cost to the residents? Where can I go to find that?
I'd be happy to give you a copy of the presentation we did on that last month to the council.
Will it have all that information, the
All this
EIRs?
information, every project maps, megawatts now, megawatts committed, and megawatts possible.
Okay. I also have the EIR for the Walmart and Target in 60,
Okay.
which has the Antelope Valley air quality management thresholds are considering it having significant impact in two areas, which is the CO and the PM, both having twice the amount that the board used to allow. And to tell you the truth, it's not built yet. It's
Right.
not affecting me. But I live near Winco. I live near Target. And on top of having those two gigantic shopping centers, we have the auto mall behind it, the Kaiser. We have a school a quarter of a mile from there. What's Lancaster doing?
Okay, good question. There's a difference between stationary pollution and mobile pollution.
Not for these EIR reports.
Okay, there is. The mobile pollution, if you look at, they talk about the mobile pollution, and they compare this number, this is what they're trying to do. They're comparing this number to, this is the number that we're looking at.
I'm comparing.
Okay, it's what the city of Palmdale has put out in a press release. So what they're saying is, those people in Quartz Hill, if we build the Quartz Hill Walmart, per se, they're saying 17,000 people will go there. 17,000 people is the emission from the pollution from those 17,000 vehicles. One second. From those 17,000 vehicles will be equivalent to this. Okay? Our position is those people that are driving to Walmart, they're going to shop at Walmart. They're going to be attributed to that Walmart shopping center. They're not driving 6 miles anymore. They're now driving 1 or 2 miles. So instead of doing that, we're actually lowering the threshold for the mobile pollution. But there's a big difference between a stationary polluter and a mobile polluter.
Actually, this is saying, assuming that each vehicle would travel a maximum of 0.1 miles within the project site. So you added 2 miles to that.
Okay, but that solidifies my point. They're driving less than what they usually drive.
But that's what this EIR is representing.
Okay, this, I'll give you an example of what they're saying. This power plant, if you want to compare apples to apples, is equivalent of having, I think it's 580,000 vehicles driving in one city block for a year.
I live right in center of town. It could quite possibly be true.
But that's
They might have 500
the equivalent. And do we want that?
yearly basis.
Do we want that? What we're trying to do is lower the emissions. So if our goal is to consistently lower the emissions, that's part of the reasons. Questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you for this presentation. I'm Dr. Tom Shepard. I'm representing Lancaster Baptist Church, Lancaster Baptist Schools, and West Coast Baptist College. And we have, on any given day, 1,500 students on our campus, which, according to your maps here, we're in the prevailing wind zone of this. And we are very concerned about the impact of health on our students and on our employees. We appreciate this presentation. We want you to know that we'll be talking to the folks, our constituents, about this in fighting this proposal with these particulates going to be coming right over our campus at any given day, and including Sundays where we have many thousands of people who will be on our campus at the same time. I just wanted to let you know that we are opposed to this power plant.
Thank you, sir. Here's their argument, and I want you to comprehend their argument. They're saying 6 miles is too far. It won't affect them. Won't affect you because you're over 3 miles away. However, they want us to believe that when they close this plant 200 miles away, that'll affect us. It's one way or the other. You can't have it both ways. If the pollution's going to travel 200 miles through that corridor, okay, and get to us, so it'll clean our air, and they're doing us a favor by building this power plant, that pollution's going to travel 6 miles. And the EIR does say it'll travel over 6 miles. Yes, ma'am.
Is Summit the same group that owns the Victorville station as well? And has there been an impact study since that one's been open in the immediate area?
The Victorville power plant has been, it's the sister. It's the same thing, it's the sister, but as it embroiled the Victorville city in numerous lawsuits because of the pollution aspects of it and the financial, and it's almost bankrupt the city of Victorville. I don't want to get into what Palmdale wants, what we don't want. This is just, I'm saying as a Lancaster official, my job is to protect the citizens of Lancaster. Sandra's job is to represent the citizens of Lancaster and saying, you know, regardless of what you want, this is not good for us. This is not good for our citizens. I believe when Mr. Ledford, their mayor, says, Palmdale first, he means it. He doesn't really care what happens anywhere else. It's Palmdale first. We try to look at how it will affect the entire valley. Not just Palmdale, not just Lancaster. We had a meeting with the CEC. The CEC told us that effectively the solar arrays that, and we're the largest in the state of California, are effectively producing the same amount of energy as the San Onofre power plant that was closed.
We are now,
We are now.
at this point,
Yes,
and you're selling that to the grid.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. You're saying that Lancaster is now using solar power to generate 2.2 gigawatts?
No.
That's what
Statewide.
San Onofre was producing.
Statewide.
Okay, so how much power is Lancaster producing
I think
via
it's
solar?
like,
We're number one per capita in California, of any city in California. I think it's 46 now, solar, and there's another 46 permitted or under construction.
46 megawatts?
That it's producing now?
That's producing now, and we're number one in the state.
We're number one in the state per capita.
46 in the permit process. We're going to double that in the next 2 years, say.
I don't know the time frame, but that's probably close.
Yeah, okay. But that's nowhere near 2.3
What we'll
gigawatts.
do is, there's a presentation that's given to the city council. If it's not still up on the website, we'll re-put it up on the website.
Yeah.
It explains all of that.
Okay, so part two is, this is an incredibly bad idea to open this power plant in Palmdale. What do we do to stop it?
the city of Lancaster, we've done, I think this is my 36th presentation. I could close my eyes, sit in a chair way over there and do it.
Okay.
It is, we've tried for the last 2 years. We've tried to talk with them. We've asked them questions. We've said, why does it have to be here? How come it can't be somewhere else? Where are we at with this?
Don't we have enough empirical data to litigate this?
If it comes,
Lord knows, we should be able to tie them up in court for at least a decade.
we believe, the city of Lancaster believes we want to talk first. Okay? We want to go through every avenue that we can before, we're spending your money.
I understand that,
Okay,
but just
but-
be prepared to file suit before they break ground.
If I
Because
may.
once they break ground, you're done.
Yeah, if I may, Vice Mayor, I think that we know, this is our opportunity to be able to, as our Vice Mayor was saying, we have been trying to communicate with the city of Palmdale in regards to the power plant. This is our opportunity as citizens of Antelope Valley, not necessarily just the city of Lancaster, city of Palmdale, but to be heard. This is why we're here to educate the community, which means Antelope Valley, so that you have a voice to be heard. With you asking these amazing questions, this is an opportunity for you to also express that to the city of Palmdale, to the city of Lancaster. We have a meeting December 17th at the AVA QMD, correct?
At the college.
At the college. This is a great opportunity for all of us to attend so that our voices can be heard. As we know, when we all come together as a team, that's when things happen. And for us, the leaders, to be able to try and communicate with Palmdale and not being heard or not having certain questions answered, now we're asking for all of us as citizens to come and speak and ask whatever question it may be, whether we are for it or not for it. But this is an opportunity that we have so that we can be heard. December 17th would be a great opportunity for us to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
We're getting one side of the picture. What's the possibility of getting Palmdale into a meeting prior to the 17th? So that the people can ask them their side of the story.
I don't think there's a possibility of that. We've tried. We've sent them letters. We've sent requests. We've done everything. Their position is, this is the cleanest power plant ever.
You know, and I was mentioning earlier for all of us to be heard, this was, the Lancaster School District has stepped up. They truly have. They acknowledged this PowerPoint that we presented to them. They stepped up as a board and informed all of the schools and all of the students and the parents of this information. And with them taking that responsibility to step up has really gotten the bug out there. So now people are starting to be educated and get the knowledge that we all deserve to have so that we can be proactive. And we owe that to Lancaster School District for being proactive. Now the other districts wants to get involved. And as, sir, you came up also representing your institution. So it's getting the word out so that we can all come together and be heard. Again, whether we're for it or not for it.
Yes, Mr. Paul.
Mr. Vice Mayor, thank you so much for what you're doing here. This is a concern for me. My children have respiratory complications as well as my wife, and this blows over my house. I don't want it. We have to remember, though, it is the cleanest power plant of its kind in the world. To me, that's kind of like saying Jack the Ripper was a good mass murderer because he only killed a few people. And even if that's a little too rough, let's call this a serial rapist, because it's raping our environment, it's raping our air, it's raping our future. And we had this thing come up recently with the serial rapist they wanted to put somewhere. Everybody came out up in arms and move him somewhere. If we have to put up with this, let's put it somewhere where it's not going to impact our health and give this thing a chance to hurt us all. Thank you so much. I'll do whatever I can. And I am very grateful for all your efforts. Thank
Sir,
you.
that's a great example that you gave about the serial rapist, and we all, as a community, were able to ask this gentleman to move somewhere else. And it took a whole community for that to happen. It's the same theory, same theory. Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Well, just a comment. I can't believe for a minute that a for-profit power company is going to reduce our rates. As a resident who has Cal Water providing its water to us, our rates are probably already the highest in the state, and now we're looking at a 65% increase over 3 years that we're fighting. So I don't see any way possible that it's going to reduce anybody's power rates.
As you know, the city of Lancaster also stepped up with the Cal Water issue. They wanted their 3 times higher than anyone else. Anyone else. and they wanted a 60% rate increase, and the city of Lancaster stepped up and defended everybody. However, the only people that we could actually do in court were the citizens of Lancaster. So those people are at a 10% rate increase over 3 years. Everybody else under Cal Water is still at 60%. Lancaster will step up for the citizens, okay? We try to step up for everybody, but there's rules and regulations that are out there. We do what's right for everybody. Anyone else? Greg, you have to have something.
What time, you're doing a great job.
Come on.
What time is the meeting on the 17th?
10 o'clock at the college. What it was the college, and I'll tell you the story. The AVA-QMD has a facility. It houses about 35 people. If this many people, the whole facility would be full. Okay? So we moved it to the AVTA building, which is about 153 people. Okay? It's the interest, and they're coming, and they're saying, we'll be there, we'll be there, we'll be there. We had to move it to the college, which is a little over 450 people. So that's the reason we moved it to the college from the different facilities that we have gone through to this point.
And we ask of you to please take advantage of this opportunity to be heard. Please.
It does count. Yes?
Okay. I would say that there are several aspects to this plant that are very concerning. And one that I'm just starting to look into a little bit is this whole idea of the impact of our water consumption in the state of California. And I think, you know, kind of to follow in the spirit of what David was just saying, we have to take a look at the big picture. Apparently since 1992, there's like a 50,000 acre foot area that has subsided because of overuse of groundwater, and it's permanently lost, like it's dropped a foot. So although not doing this plant doesn't solve that problem, at least it's a step in the right direction to start to take a look at, you know, how do we put our water to use? I think that the most serious aspect to this is the air pollution. But let's not overlook the water, because I think it is going to be, regardless of this plant, a huge issue for us within 50 years easily. We're evaporating this water off instead of putting it back into the ground.
Correct.
Where it belongs. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Just echo what's been said already. As a 15-year resident of Lancaster, I live on the east side. I'm on the downwind side within the 3-mile radius of this proposed plant, and I'm concerned. I have children. My youngest son developed asthma since we've been here, and so I'm just concerned that this gets stopped. And I know this is for sharing information. I appreciate you've done a wonderful job, but we really, as residents of the east side of Lancaster, we want to see this stopped. And for me as a family, our family, we're interested in safety, clean air, clean water. We'll drive on dirt roads. Whatever needs to be done for the city of Lancaster to litigate, whatever's necessary, just to make sure that this doesn't get put in our backyard. You know, we have rules as homeowners not to be able to put a nuisance. I can't take it and build something right next to my neighbor's property line and impact his value of his property. Why can this happen 60 feet from our border to Lancaster? So thank you for what you're doing. We're behind you, and we just want the city to take whatever resources are necessary to make sure this doesn't happen. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Now's your time. Okay, we'll be available up here if you have a private question that you'd like to ask.
And please share the information with everyone. Thank you.